Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Join forces. Yu Luo, his body fully covered in green, spoke in a cold voice. His eyes swept through Captain and the 17 other warriors behind. Dear respected Captain, why would I dare join hands with you? Back when I was still a new recruit, when I was merely sent for an ordinary mission, I tried so hard to please you, following behind you all the time, and what did I get out of it? You used me as bait. If not for my strong ability for self-preservation and the few treasures my grandfather gave me before I joined the army, I think I would have died during my very first mission. A captain like you? You think I would want to join forces with you? Yu Luo and the 8 warriors behind him looked at the captain with great sarcasm in their eyes. Captain replied in a low growl, every warrior has different abilities and status, and of course, status varies. Back then, you were only a new recruit and didn't know much. How can you blame me for it? This time, it is a disaster-level mission. Every time such a disaster-level mission occurs, many warriors are bound to be annihilated. Do you think just the 9 of you working together have a chance of succeeding? Don't worry. We do not need your concern. Yu Luo shook his head and gave a cold laugh. The 9 of us have been through thick and thin together. Since we are in this together, we have sworn an oath. We feel assured putting our lives in one another's hands. As for you, Humph, we do not trust you at all, let alone to place our lives in your hands. Humph, one, you can save your effort. A beast warrior behind Yu Luo shouted. If you rope us in now, then, at the most crucial moment, you are going to make use of us again, I suppose. Yu Luo looked toward Luo Feng and Wu He, then said coldly, the 2 of you new recruits, the moment you are accepted in here, you are sent on a disaster-level mission. Just your luck. But remember, if QFA is willing to take you in, you are still going to be fine. But this captain, he is going to make use of you and leave you all to your own devices, for sure. And, Captain, to ensure that we are not going to be used by you, we are going to make the first move. Finishing his piece, Yu Luo, together with the 8 warriors under his command, walked directly toward a faraway contorted wormhole near the Great Evil Hall. This was a wormhole that had been created by a great being and could lead one out of the military camp. 9 figures went into the wormhole and disappeared in an instant. Captain and his warriors were extremely angry. QFA. Captain looked towards QFA and asked, what about you? No need. QFA shook her head and smiled. Her smile was incomparably beautiful. Turning to look at Luo Feng and Wu He, she said, you 2 new recruits, this is a disaster-level mission. I am unable to help you. However, the journey is long from here all the way to 9 Smoke Marsh, and it will be fraught with dangers. I have a true god-level battleship, so let us set off together. I will bring you all over the 9 Smoke Marsh safely. Once we get there, we will go our separate ways. All right, Wu He replied right away. All right, Luo Feng also said, nodding. Let's go. At QFA's order, the 10 warriors under her command, together with Luo Feng and Wu He, all raced toward the faraway wormhole. Then all of them went through it. Only Captain and his warriors remained. The other warriors were all of the same mind as they spoke up. Captain, do not be bothered, Captain. Without them, we are still able to complete the mission that the army has assigned. That burly captain looked toward the wormhole and sneered coldly. QFA and Yu Luo. How long has it been since they joined the army? How many times have they successfully made it through disaster-level missions? Do they think that every disaster-level mission is the same? This time, we are talking about the 9 Smoke Marsh. From what I know, 9 Smoke Marsh recently had a great battle with Shenyu Mountain, so security is extremely tight now. If we want to succeed, we must join forces. Forget it. Since they are so confident, we shall see when this mission comes to an end, how many of them are left. Captain, you are someone who has survived a reincarnation-level mission. How can Yu Luo and QFA be compared to you? True. I think they will not even be able to survive through one era. These warriors placed great faith in their captain. It was an indisputable fact that his abilities were the best. He had lived for an immeasurable length of time and even owned an automaton-type treasure. He might have been a bit selfish, but when it came to perilous missions, perhaps a few would be annihilated who followed such a captain. But following Fa and Yu Luo, therein lay the possibility of total annihilation of an entire team. Captain gave the order. "Let's go." "Yes, sir," everyone responded. The group of warriors left in a flash. Through the space wormhole, the group made it out of the military camp to arrive at a vast area above the mountains and forests. With a wave of her hand, the beautiful Fa shook out a black battleship, which was a palace-type supreme true treasure. Then everyone, including Fa, quickly entered this battleship. Luo Feng and Wu He, too, did not hesitate to enter. To make it from here to Nine Smoke Marsh, Fa's clear and melodious voice could be heard saying, "At our fastest, we will still need 12 days. Everyone, do have some patience and prepare as we make our way there." Luo Feng stood inside the cabin, yet he was not worried in the least. If this had been Universe Ocean, it would not have been so easy to enter another great being's palace true treasure. This was because if another great being was allowed in, the moment that other party harbored ill intentions, he might take the palace true treasure back into his miniature universe and kill the original owner. But in the world of Jin, there was no need for such worry. In the world of Jin, whether one was an undying, a law knight, a law master, or even stronger beings like true gods and true gods of void spaces, their god countries and miniature universes were all within the core space of the entire world of Jin. In the core of the world of Jin, there was an incomparably vast space that was regarded as the space of the origin of the world of Jin. A large number of god countries and miniature universes existed in this space. But great beings of the world of Jin were unable to enter the space of origin, so of course, there was no way they could enter their own god countries or miniature universes. There was no way they could use their miniature universes to kill enemies. Not only that, but the world of Jin was also different from the Universe Ocean in many other ways. For instance, in the world of Jin, there was not a single being with another body, all undying fighters, law knights, and law masters only just one godly body. The ability to divide bodies had been originally bestowed upon living souls by the primal universe. Since the living souls of the world of Jin did not receive such a gift from the primal universe, obviously none of them would have a second body. This was why, in this supreme true treasure battleship, even if Fa were to suddenly turn hostile, the most she could do was entrap everyone within it. Killing any of them was beyond her means. And when it was time for the next round of the mission, 1 era later, the army would look around for missing warriors who had yet to return. Upon investigation, those warriors who were found to be dead left there. As for warriors found to be held captive, even Fa might have to face a sentence according to the military laws. When Luo Feng, Wu He, Fa, and the warriors under her command left the army to head towards Nine Smoke Marsh in the East Army military camp, at one of the military arms points outside the main hall. This is the military arms point. A beast with a huge golden shell raised his head to look at the gigantic hall. Another beast by its side, with a winding and serpentine coiled body, transmitted a voice message. "Rampaging, you have already taken the true god-level armor. Why are you still here at our military arms point?" The beast with a golden shell was none other than Rampaging Devil God. Back when it had most tragically landed on the world of Jin, it had unfortunately provoked a true god-level beast. He had fought it purposefully for quite some time to master the language of the ancient civilization. However, he had been met with a greater mishap thereafter, with a group of true god-level beasts hot on his heels. Fortunately, it was most skillful in defense, so it had managed to escape unscathed. Since then, he had been wandering about. True gods, in the world of Jin, were regarded as great beings, and a true god of void space, though truly a super overlord, would still remain within one's own territory and not roam about. That was why Rampaging Devil God, who had experienced much throughout his various venture, albeit with great prudence, was able to form relationships with some beasts while roaming in the world of Jin and gradually got to know more about the internal situation. Very quickly, he understood that the countless inheritances and treasures of the world of Jin were all within the army. So here he was to join the army. Though normal law masters could join the army, That was only the baseline requirement to make it into the army. Some who cultivated quickly to become true gods before being accepted into the army would join in later. Of course, the army would welcome them most willingly. With true gods joining the army, the chances of elimination during the selection process was much lower. For every 10 true gods, only 3 would be eliminated. Rampaging Devil God was strong in defense, so naturally, he would be able to pull through the arduous process to be accepted into the army. He was even bestowed with a standard armor. "Why are you so bothersome?" Rampaging Devil God said. "Wait for me. I will go in for a while." Rampaging Devil God charged in right away. Within the hall, at the military arms point, time and space seemed to transform when he entered, and he felt like he had entered another world. This feeling is similar to the feeling of the human's virtual universe, Rampaging Devil God muttered to himself as he looked at everything before him. It was an extremely prosperous sight before him. There were many warriors, and every single warrior was presented as a golden figure. At that moment, another golden figure flew right over to stand before Rampaging Devil God. However, this is more magical than the human's virtual universe, Rampaging Devil God said to himself. The virtual universe only involves the consciousness, but this involves the entire body entering. True God Warrior. The golden figure descended. "Speak of your demands. I want to exchange for military credits with this treasure, then I want to change for another treasure." Rampaging Devil God was a little anxious as he held onto his bloody sea devil armor. This was the supreme true treasure that allowed him to run rampant in Universe Ocean, and it had extremely strong willpower that could exert an impactful influence. But now, he had standard armor, and there was not much difference in the effect of their powers. Standard armor could render any attack below the 7th tier powerless. Bloody Sea Devil armor could render any attack below the 8th tier powerless. As for the degree of the weakening effect, Bloody Sea Devil armor had a higher tolerance limit. Yet, to Rampaging Devil God, even the limit of a true god level standard armor had to be, at the very least, an attack at the level of a true god of void space. There was no need for such strong armor in Universe Ocean. As for whether the attacks would be rendered powerless at the 7th tier or the 8th tier, what true god great being would release an attack lower than the 8th tier? The 2 eyes of the golden figure shot streaks of golden rays and scanned Bloody Sea Devil armor. This is a true god of void space level armor. It is worth 300,000 military credit. Are you going to trade it with your military credits? The moment Rampaging Devil God heard true god of void space level armor, his eyes widened. He was instantaneously rooted to the ground. "Are you going to trade it with your military credits?" the golden figure asked again. "Trade, trade, trade," Rampaging Devil God said repeatedly. He was entranced with ecstasy. This was a big win, a big win. The golden figure reached out for Bloody Sea Devil armor and took it without further ado. Then it said, "You need to trade for a treasure. This is the inventory list. You can choose whatever you want." A large screen appeared and floated before Rampaging Devil God. There were many detailed lists appearing on the screen, and under every list, there were many treasures. A short while later, Rampaging Devil God sauntered out into the military arms point in the main hall. His friends walked up to greet him. "I made a killing this time. In a short moment, I exchanged for a Supreme True Treasure Palace and even managed to get hold of 4 sets of Supreme True Treasure Attack treasures. I now have a complete set of attack, defense, and escape, as well as all kinds of abilities. Upon returning to Universe Ocean, I can rampage to my heart's content." Rampaging Devil God was extremely satisfied. "The only pity is," he continued, "I am not a part of the special army. If I was, I would have been able to exchange for an automaton-type treasure. The gap between the ordinary army and special army is huge." Rampaging Devil God recalled the valuable list and military credits requirement. Many special weapons, special valuables, and strong inheritances can't be exchanged by the ordinary army even if they have military credit. Even if some can be exchanged, it requires a much greater price than the special army. "I'm only average, even in the ordinary army. As for the special army?" Rampaging Devil God shook his head. He wasn't suicidal. Regardless, Rampaging Devil God thought, "I'm only in the world of Jinn for opportunities. I'll go back to Universe Ocean in the future. After all, if I can't transcend incarnations in 3 universe eras, I'll die. The most important thing is to fully comprehend this set of attack-type supreme true treasures and improve my power. Once I fully comprehend it, I'll be a top-tier being in the ordinary army. He exchanged for a supreme true treasure palace and set attack-type supreme true treasures. The set supreme true treasures were the most expensive. They also contained incredible techniques. Once he fully comprehended them, it would help him to break through, and he might someday reach the level of a limit true god. That's right. I need to get as many military credits as possible. I'll get more supreme true treasures, take them back to Universe Ocean, and exchange them for other great beings. Rampaging devil god's eyes gleamed. The supreme true treasures in Universe Ocean are at different levels. Some are at the true god level while some are at the true god of void space level. I'll then exchange them back in the world of Jinn. Haha. But I need to hurry up. The more time that passes, the more individuals will know about this secret. Let's go back to the camp. Rampaging devil god walked out of the arms palace with another strange beast soldier. 9 Smoke Marsh was a vast swamp. There were countless strange beasts living here, so it was a great power made of strange beasts. On the periphery of 9 Smoke Marsh, a black ship appeared. It was hiding in the grass growing around the marsh. The cabin door opened. Beings flew out, and the spaceship disappeared. We've arrived at 9 Smoke Marsh, said QFA in a clear voice. He looked around. All the soldiers were careful. Milky Way and Wu He, we'll separate here. Good luck. QFA and his soldiers looked at Luo Feng and Wu He. Lots of soldiers sent them their best wishes. Thank you, said Luo Feng and Wu He. Luo Feng and Wu He thought the best of the QFA team out of all the 3 teams. However, it was still natural for them not to have brought along for the catastrophe level task. Let's go. Luo Feng and Wu He flew away like streaks of light in the grass. QFA and the other soldiers watched as Luo Feng and Wu He flew away. The 2 newcomers have flown away. It's time for us to act. QFA looked around. There was roaring everywhere in the clouds. Luo Feng and Wu He hid carefully in the grass at the periphery of 9 Smoke Marsh. When I was in Northern True Ocean, I could roam that place, and nobody dared to bother me, Wu He bellowed. However, I have to be this careful in 9 Smoke Marsh. Okay, said Luo Feng. We need to at least survive this task. If we can't, even your father can't save you. Wu He nodded and asked, what should we do, Milky Way? 10,000 military credits. There are too many strange beasts in 9 Smoke Marsh. We'll definitely be found if we get caught in a fight. With our power, we can't even kill 1 strange beast true god, let alone 2. Luo Feng frowned. Kill a true god. If he fully utilized all his power, he could kill a true god, but it would take a very long time. In an environment like 9 Smoke Marsh, it would be impossible for him to attack a true god for that long. Do you have any ideas, Milky Way? Wu He asked nervously. What are you so anxious about? Luo Feng yelled. The time limit is the next task, which is almost 1 era. It's a very long time, so we can spend that time looking for opportunities. Wu He was relieved. Indeed, it's a long time, but I can't come up with any ideas. Wu He. Luo Feng looked at Wu He. If you will follow my lead, we can act together. If you won't follow my lead, we will have to act alone. Huh? Wu He's eyes gleamed. What have you got, Milky Way? As long as you have good ideas, I'll do whatever you tell me to do, short of killing myself. We need to come up with some ideas, said Luo Feng. We need to learn more about the periphery of 9 Smoke Marsh. We must find opportunities to better understand the situation. It would be stupid of us to make plans without understanding this place. Wu He nodded. Let's go. Luo Feng yelled. Luo Feng took Wu He and started to inspect the periphery of 9 Smoke Marsh. He needed to take everything into consideration. Half a year passed. The wind was blowing, pushing down the grass. The 2 tiny beings in it looked out like ants. Dozens of beings were locked in a battle in the distance. Bastards from Shenyu Mountain, "How dare you come here again?" roared a strange beast covered in scales. It had 4 claws, a long neck, and a triangular head. "You were defeated last time. Go. Kill those bastards from Xianyu Mountain." There were 12 strange beasts that looked exactly like him. Howl. "Bastards. Bastards from Xianyu Mountain. Kill them." The strange beasts roared and fought tall warriors wielding weapons. The tall warriors in human form were all yelling insanely. "Last time, we defeated you. Go, brothers. Kill those strange beasts. Kill." All the tribal warriors roared and dashed at the strange beasts, fighting ferociously. The time and space around them trembled, and the fighting was brutal. There were more tribal warriors, yet the strange beasts had larger godly bodies. "Milky Way, they are fighting each other." Wu He stared at the fight while transmitting his voice. "Besides, they don't even have true god-level armor to protect themselves, and they're fighting each other recklessly. Their godly bodies will be quickly consumed. Some might die after a short time. We can wait and get those remaining weapons to claim them as our military credits." The body of a true god was the proof of successfully killing one, while plundered weapons were the proof of successfully killing a law master. Besides, the military would confirm with 9 Smoke Marsh later. As long as they had the weapons and the strange beasts were dead, the military credits could be claimed. "No need to hurry." Luo Feng transmitted his yelling voice. Wu He was nervous. "We've inspected the periphery of 9 Smoke Marsh for a long time, yet we haven't gotten any military credits." "Why are you so anxious?" said Luo Feng. "We've spotted 3 battles during our inspection of the periphery of 9 Smoke Marsh. The area is enormous, and what we've inspected is barely the tip of an iceberg, yet we still saw 3 battles. How many battles are there at the periphery?" Wu He was dazed. "Like 10,000. Milkway." Wu He gaped at Luo Feng in surprise, immediately understanding his meaning. "You must also have noticed that other strange beasts in 9 Smoke Marsh are able to sense the ripples of those battles, yet they're not coming to interfere," Luo Feng said, transmitting his voice. "I didn't hear anything special from the 2 previous battles, but I heard Xianyu Mountain this time." "What power is Xianyu Mountain?" "Xianyu Mountain," said Wu He. "Xianyu Mountain is a great power next to 9 Smoke Marsh, and it's just as powerful. 9 Smoke Marsh is a strange beast power led by 3 true gods of void space, while Xianyu Mountain is a tribal alliance led by 4 true gods of void space. These 2 powers are too powerful, so there are rarely fights between them. If there is a battle, it is always brutal." Luo Feng nodded. Thoughts flooded his mind. When the 2 powers are not in a fight, will there be so many warriors and strange beasts fighting each other? Asked Luo Feng. "No," answered Wu He. "When they're not at war, they restrict their respective warriors so that they won't start a fight." Luo Feng smiled. "However, we've watched 3 fights, which means Xianyu Mountain and 9 Smoke Marsh are currently engaged in battle. There might be a pause, which is why those law masters are fighting each other." "You mean," said Wu He. "Now that Xianyu Mountain and 9 Smoke Marsh are in a fight," said Luo Feng, "let's get the true gods from both sides fight each other. Then we can collect the bodies." "A fight between true gods?" Wu He shook his head. "Impossible." "It is, indeed, nearly impossible to get a large group of true gods in a fight. However, it's possible to get individual true gods to fight." Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. He'd already had a plan in his mind. "Follow me," he said. Luo Feng and Wu He disappeared from the grass. By the edge of 9 Smoke Marsh, there were multiple mini outbursts of fights among the law masters. There was no intervention by the true gods of either party because, to the 2 groups of top powers, such small-scale fighting among the law masters under their commands right before the final battle was actually a way of training these law masters. To 9 Smoke Marsh and Xianyu Mountain, true gods were the true core combat power. Kill. Kill. A burly and imposing giant whose footsteps could cause the land to tremble charged toward the numerous beasts ahead in a frenzied manner. These giants, positioned about Universe Ocean, were the pillars of support for their races. Anyone placed within Universe Ocean was nothing less than a beast god. Only a magical place like the world of Jin had a space stable enough to easily accommodate such crossfire. If these fights had occurred in the primal universe or in Universe Ocean, the entire space would have shattered and collapsed. There were beasts tumbling and rolling about with hissing sounds they bit, bearing fangs that glimmered with icy-cold rays. Arms were waving as shouts were heard. Huge axes hacked unfailingly. The entire region was a crazy sight to behold as both parties fought one another. Retreat. Alliance Master has given orders for an immediate retreat. Alliance Master has given orders for an immediate retreat. 3 warriors led the rest of the tribe from Xianyu Mountain. Each carried a transmission token with them wherever they went. At that moment, the message with orders to retreat was transmitted to them. This caused the tribal warriors who were initially fighting like crazy to immediately change their course of action. Brothers, Alliance Master has given the orders to retreat. 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 Following the orders, a large group of tribal warriors, half of them fighting and half retreating, speedily made their way into a battleship. Thereafter, they retreated into the distance at lightning speed. The beasts who did not make it into the ship fast enough were roaring with rage, as they had been left behind. Retreat. Alliance Master has given orders. Retreat. Retreat. Alliance Master has given orders. Retreat. Almost at the same moment, everyone around the edge of the Nine-Smoke Marsh, the great number of tribal warriors in their respective troops, were either in the midst of fighting or in the midst of hiding in ambush. They had yet to take any action but had all received the same command. These troops started to retreat discreetly and speedily. They left the area around Nine-Smoke Marsh. How weird. Luo Feng, who had been advancing as warily as possible to stay hidden from the troops, suddenly stopped. Why isn't there a single great being from Xianyu Mountain to be found? Milky Way, Milky Way, how is it possible that we don't even see a single great being from the Xianyu Mountain Tribal Alliance? If that is the case, how are you going to execute your plan? How are we going to sow discord? Wu He asked anxiously. Luo Feng lightly shook his head. He, too, was at a loss. Based on their speculations, for so many small-scale conflicts, Xianyu Mountain must have sent at least 1 million law masters. This way, it would be impossible to put so many law masters through such a risk. There must have been true gods protecting them in the dark, just to prevent any unique situation from happening. And that was exactly what Luo Feng was looking for, a true god from Xianyu Mountain. Do we even need to talk about true gods when not even a single law master can be found? Wu He was anxious yet helpless. If this goes on, when will we even complete the mission assigned to us by the army? We are talking about 10,000 military credit. Stop your nonsense. Luo Feng was frustrated. Earlier on, Xianyu Mountain's groups of powers had been commonly seen, but now, all of them seemed to have vanished. This added on to Luo Feng's frustrations. If Xianyu Mountain had decided to fully retreat and no longer be involved, then there was no way they could reap the benefits from the conflict between the other two parties. Why are they no longer fighting? Earlier on, we discovered 6 incidences of crossfire between Xianyu Mountain and Nine-Smoke Marsh in succession. How could they all disappear so suddenly? Around a dozen figures hid among the grass. The one heading the troop was a burly giant with curved horns. This was the captain and his troops. Previously, they had encountered 6 areas where melees were occurring. They had waited until the final moments. Then they had seized the timely opportunity to join the scuffle and defeat the other two parties. They had even disguised themselves as members of Xianyu Mountain to kill the law masters of Nine-Smoke Marsh. Xianyu Mountain was a super tribal alliance that was massive beyond reckoning. How many law masters were there, exactly? Even internally, there were law masters who did not know some of their fellow law masters even though they all belonged to Xianyu Mountain. So, all the more, the beasts from Nine-Smoke Marsh would not be able to differentiate whether or not they were from the tribal alliance. At first glance, they were humanoid. That meant it must have been a powerful tribal group. Kill. Captain, what should we do? What should we do now? Continue to disguise ourselves as the tribal warriors of Xianyu Mountain and kill those beasts from Nine-Smoke Marsh? The other warriors looked toward their captain and waited for him to make a decision. The captain's pair of grey eyes, beneath his large curved horns, seemed to bear no trace of emotional ups and downs as he said in a low voice, "No. We have not discovered any law masters of Xianyu Mountain for quite some time. Maybe, the law masters of Xianyu Mountain are starting to retreat. If we continue to pass ourselves off as them, with Nine Smoke Marsh presiding over the overall situation, they will discover that the countless previous conflicts all suddenly disappeared, leaving all but one left. This will definitely arouse their suspicion, and they will surely send out a team of true gods. By then, it will be too late for escape. One after another, his warriors nodded. Then what should we do now? All eyes were on the captain. Wait, the captain said in a low voice. Xianyu Mountain and Nine Smoke Marsh are deeply involved in the war against one another, so even if they were to stop, there are bound to be ongoing, small-scale conflicts. On the contrary, the moment such conflicts cease altogether, that will seem strange. In a desolate space a few thousand light-years away from Nine Smoke Marsh, numerous mighty figures were suspended in midair. Every one of them exuded a tyrannical aura. From a distance, there were at least a few thousand of them, and occasionally, a few true gods would fly over to join the crowd. At that moment, many small teams were continually gathering and merging. These were troops of law masters, law master warriors, to be exact, and they were so densely populated that they could be found all over the sky. Alliance Master, all teams previously out to hone and train themselves have returned. All true gods have returned, too. Before the entire troop of great beings were three figures. The entire Xianyu Mountain had a total of 4 major tribes. Xianyu Mountain, itself, was a tribal alliance. Each and every tribal leader was a true god of void space. These three figures released such boundless power that the void space surrounding the entire army seemed to have condensed and become completely isolated from the outside world. The master of this void space was the figure in the middle. A cold voice dripping in overwhelming anger was heard resonating through the entire void space. Nine Smoke Marsh has been provoking us, Xianyu Mountain, on so many occasions. Previously, they even dared to attack us at Xianyu Mountain. We must teach them that they are not worthy to create such provocations in Xianyu Mountain. We must mete out death sentences to them, to punish this Nine Smoke Marsh. Instantaneously, angry howls filled the air as all the warriors were filled with fighting spirit. Punish this Nine Smoke Marsh! Punish this Nine Smoke Marsh! Punish this Nine Smoke Marsh! The Alliance Master, with a face that resembled a rock, gave the order without further ado. Let's go. A tremendous number of tribal warriors vanished into the void space. On the periphery of Nine Smoke Marsh, Luo Feng and Wu He waited in the grass while brainstorming alternative solutions. Now, warriors from the powerful groups of Xianwu Mountain were nowhere to be found, so their initial plan had to be aborted. Do we have to resort to the method of going deep into the tiger's den? Luo Feng muttered to himself. Going deep into the tiger's den was a solution that Luo Feng would use only under the direst of circumstances. Other than his earthling original body, he had also brought Golden Horned Beast into the world of Jin. And Golden Horned Beast, while in the world of Jin, certainly belonged to the various beasts faction. It was perfectly capable of posing as a traveling beast that had happened to find its way into Nine Smoke Marsh. If it was a traveling tribal warrior, then it would not have dared enter Nine Smoke Marsh. But a traveling beast would definitely have the gut. After entering Nine Smoke Marsh, it would wait for a chance. He believed that, within a short period of time, Nine Smoke Marsh would send troops over to join the army. By then, he would sneak his way into the troop. Being a law master himself, the troop would not guard against him. He just had to pray that that particular troop only had one true god leading the rest. When the troop was a substantial distance away from Nine Smoke Marsh, he would deal a deadly blow. Get rid of that true god. Complete the mission ever so easily. But the way of entering deep into the tiger's den was fraught with problems. 1. No one knew how many Universe Masters were going to join the army. If there were many of them, these Universe Masters would serve as a great threat. 2. No one knew how many true gods Nine Smoke Marsh would send to protect its troops. After all, Nine Smoke Marsh was much bigger and much more powerful than Dry Wilderness Tribe. A bait. To lure them out of the hole? Sneak in? Either that, or we painstakingly and gradually hunt these law masters down and spend almost a whole era to make up 10,000 of them. Luo Feng was frustrated, too. These ideas all had the possibility of success but were all extremely dangerous. The most effective and most efficient method was getting both parties to fight against one another so he could reap the benefits from their fray. So long as a true god of Nine Smoke Marsh was dead, he would immediately snatch the corpse and then run off without any delay. Given the might of the boat of Mausoleum, he could definitely make a speedy escape. Just as Luo Feng was feeling frustrated, a thought suddenly crossed his mind as he raised his head. He saw, far in the distance, a black mass that had suddenly appeared in the upper sky of Nine Smoke Marsh. There were numerous towering figures so massive that their sizes were counted in the tens of thousands of kilometers. At first glance, it would be a given that once the number of people hit 10,000, the crowd would be like a sea of people. And the tribal warriors all had towering builds like lofty mountains. Amidst the skies above, millions of tribal warriors gathered with such a mighty presence that they naturally created a scene akin to endless black clouds shrouding the entire sky. Ah! Luo Feng's eyes widened. He had never seen such a shocking scene before. A great war, said Wu He beside him. He raised his head suddenly. His eyes were filled with surprise and excitement. A great war. It's a great war. The Great War between Shenhuayu Mountain and Nine Smoke Marsh. The one, true, final war. This is nothing like the small-scale crossfires of the past. Ha ha ha. So exciting. Since I came to Northern True Ocean, from birth until now, I have only seen such a large-scale, ultimate war once. Northern True Ocean was too powerful, so no groups of powers around us dared to provoke us. Wow. This is deeply satisfying. Those three at the front must be true gods of void spaces. Even true gods of void spaces are joining in this war. This is truly one great, final war. Heaven and earth changed in color, time and space transformed. In the blink of an eye, the entire surroundings of Nine Smoke Marsh, including the peripheral area outside Nine Smoke Marsh where Luo Feng and Wu He were hiding, were enshrouded, too. Other areas of the same land, where the captain and his troop, Ku Fa and her troop, and Yu Luo and his troop were hiding, were similarly enshrouded. The entire Nine Smoke Marsh. In an instant, the external region became a blurred void space. The upper skies, the surroundings, and the endless marshes at ground level all became a blurred void space. It was as though the entire Nine Smoke Swamp had been cut out and isolated. In one thought, the void space is formed. Luo Feng mumbled to himself. True god of void space. He had long heard of how terrifying a true god of void space could be. Every true god of void space was an overlord of a certain area within the world of Jin. Placed in the context of Universe Ocean, every true god of void space would be able to transcend reincarnation to establish one's own Holy Land universe. Then he would be able to ensure the everlasting existence of his own race. This video will end here.